Yo guys, welcome back. Today we're doing an update to the meta weapons video from a little over a month ago. I have done a lot with weapons since then as I was preparing for Ice Maiden's release, and overall I have most weapons in the game that are relevant, built with multiple builds. That video actually got a lot of traction, and when I'm streaming always having chatters asking about weapon builds, so here we are again with an update. This is going to be a lot of info. I will do my best to organize it well and make it easy to follow. Some builds will be for certain Descendants and certain scenarios, and I'll have text on screen for that. This will not be a ranking video. We will definitely be starting with some of the better firearms, so keep that in mind. With that out of the way, let's get into it. So we're going to start with our Last Dagger, of course. I would say probably the best weapon in the game, just because it's good in so many different scenarios. We will start with our bossing dagger first, and this is always going to start with your element for what you are fighting in the top slot, then your 2 firearm attack cores, your 2 fire rate cores. For your substats, weak point, firearm attack, firearm critical hit rate, firearm critical hit damage. So let's start going over some mods for bossing specifically, and we will start with just a general Colossus build here that's going to take advantage of Firing Fiesta. Most of these builds are going to be the same, just kind of slight minor changes depending on the scenario, but you will always have action and reaction, your 2 critical hit damage mods, your fire rate up, Firing Fiesta, and your 2 weak point mods. And then Ultra Precision Strike is one that's going to be swapped in and out depending. You might have Overwhelm here. Sometimes neither of those are necessary for the fight, so you would put something in like Insight Focus for more critical hit chance, critical hit damage. And then your 2 element mods, you just want to make sure you're matching those with the enemy that you're fighting. So this right here is going to be your general Colossus build. Now, in this part of the video, like I was saying, we will go over just basically a general build for this weapon. And like I was saying, we're going to be getting rid of our battle proficiency mod and just putting Insight Focus, still running our 2 weak points. You can keep the battle proficiency mod in, but most likely if you're just doing like general gameplay, fighting bosses in 400s or in the Sigma sector, you probably will be able to take better advantage of Insight Focus than you will Ultra Precision Strike. And now we will go over our Purge 30 build. This is it. This is the Purge 30 build. Only Descendant that matters here that you're on that will be different will be Glay, and I will show that in a second. As you can see, now we have Overwhelm for a battle proficiency mod. And if you were to be using Glay, you would simply swap out Firing Fiesta for Mental Focus. And now real quick, we will cover Serena's Purge 30 Dagger. This is very specific to her, and it's going to be with rounds per magazine ×2 instead of fire rate. This is going to be your flying in the air like an angel build. This is the go-to build for Serena for clearing Purge 30. Your cores are the same, except for your rounds per magazine. And as far as your mods, they're exactly the same as what I was showing before. The main thing here was just to showcase the change in the rounds per magazine. And now we will move on to A-TAMS. As far as your cores, you want your element to match the enemy you're fighting, and then you want firearm critical hit damage in your second core slot. And then after that, you can go sprint speed or grapple cooldown reduction. As far as your substats, you want firearm attack, weak point damage, and firearm critical hit damage. And as far as your third stat, you can either match the element to the enemy you were fighting, or you could go critical hit right here if you would like. Now, for our mods, we're running a weak point expansion build here. We're running our 3 firearm attack mods, and then we are running a bunch of critical hit rate with better insight edging shot, critical hit damage with better concentration, and then weak point sight. Now, for our 2 mods that are left, we have fire enhancement and superheated gun barrel, which is going to give us a ton of fire attack, and we're losing fire rate, which is not necessary here on a sniper rifle. Now, to go into one bit of a niche build here, it's going to be for Haley, who is going to give herself enough critical hit rate to not need all those critical hit rate mods. So instead, we're using focus fire and heat circulation. I'm a big Haley fan, so this is something I run often, just when opening Amorphous on Colossus and such. And now we will go to Restored Relic. Definitely a top 3 weapon on this game. Must have, I'd say. Definitely you want to build this. And we're going to go through a few builds here. This specifically is going to be for Ice Maiden, for breaking those weak points and getting the skill power buff. You're going to want your triple fire rate with your 2 fire attacks. And for your substats, you want your explosive attack, fire attack, and then your 2 multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage substats. Now, as far as the setup for mods here, we're going with multi-hit, and we're going with a bunch of explosive attack, fire rate up, multi-bullet, and then weak point expansion. As far as weak point expansion, something I was playing around with, and I did notice as soon as I put this on, the weak points were breaking a bit easier. I don't have no scientific proof behind this. A lot of people have a lot of different builds for this. This just happens to be the one that I go with most often. And now we can cover a restored relic build for Purge 30. Mostly you'd be using this on Glay. You're gonna go with your triple fire rate, your 2 chill attacks, and then your explosive attack, your firearm critical hit damage, bonus firearm attack versus Legion of Darkness, and chill attack. Your critical hit damage could be replaced with multi-hit damage as well. I just have not re-rolled this. And as far as your setup, this is what you're gonna wanna go with. You got your 2 radius mods, your 2 chill mods, your multi-hit mods, your explosive attack mods, and your fire rate up. And now we will go over a build for Purge challenge mode with Serena, and this thing clears. With this setup, you can be in the air. Basically, you have infinite ammo with the way things are set up with Serena and the component set. I do have a video on that. Will be down in the description. As far as this, you're going to go with 2 fire rates. You can do triple fire rate if you were very comfortable, but if you are not comfortable with how many shots you need on most packs of enemies, you're going to end up running out of ammo just because you're wasting missiles. So I would say start with the 2 fire rate and then go to 3 once you're comfortable. Other than that, this thing clears completely. Really, really good. As far as your substats, explosive attack, toxic attack, multi-hit chance, and bonus firearm attack versus Legion of Immortality. The reason I have toxic and immortality here is because it's specifically for 35, but this will get you through all the challenge stages pretty easily. Then we are going with a ton of explosive attack here with 3 mods. We have our radius mod. We have also ammo optimization for some more explosion radius, fire rate up. Then we have our 2 multi-hit mods, our expand high power magazine. This is very, very important or you're going to run out of ammo. And then you have the element that's going to match the weakness of the enemy. And now we have Malevolent, top gun on the game for sure. You could put this on any Descendant and they are a mob clearer. If you look at most of the Void Erosion Purge challenge speedrunners on the leaderboard, they're basically just using this, especially with the glitch to the payout mod right now. That is being fixed soon, hopefully. As far as your setup, you're going to go triple fire rate with firearm attack, and then your element of choice. And for your substats, firearm attack, I go rounds per magazine. You could put weak point here. Then do your faction and your element. Now, as far as your setup, payout is going to be a must here. Very, very good on this weapon. You're going to want your triple firearm attack mods, your fire rate up, 2 weak point mods, and then the 2 element mods of your choice. And then vibration absorption actually helps a lot when you have the triple fire rate on this. So I would suggest that. If not, you can go for a little bit more damage, like a circulation mod. And we move on to Smithereens. First, we will cover the Ice Maiden build, kind of a niche build. You're really only using this on Serena with her skill build, but we will still put it in here. Link to the video will be found in the description also for that build. If you need it for Serena, you have your fire rate core, your firearm attack core, and then I go with aim shot accuracy and recoil here to tighten the spread of the shotgun. Helps a lot. Then you have firearm attack, multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage, and fire attack. Now, as far as your mods, we're going a lot of multi-hit here. The 2 must-have mods here are Shell Up and Fire Rate Up. I have done Ice Maiden with only those 2 mods in this shotgun. Takes about 9 to 10 seconds to run. Other than that, like I said, multi-hit, so first-class marksman, multi-fire, multi-trigger support ammo, multi-percussion sights, multi-piercing trigger. Then we're running vibration absorption again on this weapon to tighten the spread, Hawkeye as well, and then fire enhancement for the element damage. Now, for an all-around, basically every situation, Smithereens. This thing, mine is kind of a mess here, but we'll go through it. We do have firearm critical hit damage on the top slot. You could also go element there if you would like, but I just have this set up to basically use it anywhere. Then we have firearm attack, 2 sprint speed, and then a faction damage. As far as your substats, you're going to want firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage. Those are a must. Other than that, I still have this from old Purge 30 days. So I have chill attack and a faction. You can go element and then weak point if you would like. Now, as far as a mod setup, we're going to do real life fighter here. We're going to do 2 critical hit damage mods. We're going to do our action and reaction and rifling reinforcement. For our firearm attack, fire rate up, shell up. Those are always a must on this weapon. Then we have our 2 elements. As far as your last slot, you can do expand weapon charge. I do that if I'm taking this in like mobbing situations or 400%. I want to clear a boss. But if I'm fighting a Colossus, I'm going to go with targeted vulnerability here for the extra weak point damage. And now we have Greg's very slept on weapon. Nowadays, I use this on stream very often, and people are kind of amazed of how good it is, how much damage you can output. We have our triple fire rate, our firearm attack, and then just a faction. I don't really use this for anything like that, but we have the faction rolled. And then for your substats, you're gonna have your firearm attack, your firearm critical hit damage, your weak point damage, and then the element of your choice. Weak point damage is very, very important on here as your bombardments scale to the weak point hits. And the firearm critical hit damage is also very important as your bombardments can crit. As far as module setup, this is basically your Colossus setup here. You're gonna do spray and pray, your fire rate up. Then you have your 2 firearm attack mods, your 2 weak point mods, your critical hit chance, and then your 2 critical hit damage mods with the concentration mods, and then the element of your choice. Now, if you're going to use this on Glay, who is very, very good with this weapon, very slept on, I would say, and a lot of fun if you're going to actually build this weapon, I do suggest grabbing Glay and using it on her, because with the increased sensory and just being able to spray this gun, it's pretty crazy. A lot of fun. The only change here is we're switching spray and pray for mental focus, because she can take advantage of mental focus and does not need spray and pray. Now we're going to have Ancient Knight, which is going to be a very Serena specific weapon because of the way unique ability works. You're going to have your 2 element cores, your 2 firearm attack cores, and then your fire rate core. And for your substats, you want your firearm attack, your multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage, and then the element of your choice. As far as the mods, we're going with the triple firearm attack mods, fire rate up. We have our 2 element mods of your choice. Then we have multi-hit piercing sights, multi-percussion sight, multi-amplification, and then firing fiesta. And now we have Albion Cavalry with this very nice skin, actually. I put it on, but I didn't really get to check it out. It's very nice. As far as your cores, you have your 2 fire rate, your 2 element, and then your firearm critical hit rate. Then you have your firearm attack, your critical hit damage, critical hit rate, and then your element on your substats. Now, we are going to go over a Haley build, and if I was using this on Haley, I wouldn't have those critical hit rates there because she doesn't need them. I would have critical hit damage for the core, and then for the other substat, the critical hit rate, I would probably go with faction damage if I was specifically using this for Haley. Now, this is basically going to be a Purge 30 setup. We're going heavy into crit here. Firearm attack, of course, firearm critical hit damage, our elements, and then we have sweeping squad with fire rate up. Now, as far as a Haley build, she does not need all that critical hit rate, so we're dropping most of that, putting a bigger magazine, and then we're using Insight Focus. As I said, magazine, we're using expand weapon charge and compulsive magazine. Now we are going to cover Wave of Light, which is actually a very slept on weapon here, specifically for Colossus killing. This thing is a beast, to be honest. You could also take this into Purges and absolutely nuke Greg with this as well. You're going to go 2 fire rates with your firearm attack on your cores, and then for your substats, firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage, weak point, and then the element matching the enemy you're fighting. And as far as a mod setup, we do have payout. We're going with our firearm attack as usual, 2 weak point mods, 2 critical hit damage mods, 2 element mods, and then fire rate up. Like I said, this is a very slept on weapon. One I would suggest building for the future of the game. There's a chance that this can be very handy, and I would want to have it on deck as a player. And now we will cover 3 weapons that are kind of just like support weapons / a stat stick. The stat stick being the Secret Garden. I just wanted to throw this in here because this is definitely one of the better weapons to have in the game. A lot of Descendants take advantage of this with their mobbing builds, some with their bossing builds as well, so we will cover this. You're going to go triple sprint speed. That is the most important thing here. You want to be fast when mobbing, and then your firearm critical hit damage, and then faction of your choice. As far as your substats, I go firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage, firearm critical hit rate, and then rounds per magazine. You could swap rounds per magazine for an element, weak point, whatever you like, faction. And then as far as a mod setup, I use Veil Analyzer here because I do not like to switch to Voltia, and just having this in there makes it a lot easier to break those shields. It's not amazing, but it gets the job done. Brisk Walk, your 2 firearm attack mods, your critical hit rate, critical hit damage, expand weapon magazine, fire rate up, and then we have Edging Shot for a lot more critical hit rate. This is a critical hit rate gun You're going to put a lot of critical hit rate, a lot of critical hit damage in this. Not one of the best guns in the game, but it can get the job done. I would suggest building this as well. And now we will go over a Voltia build. As far as your top slot here, I have gone with sprint speed because I just hate how slow I go with this gun in my hand, especially since you're always in a mobbing situation when you're using this. And then we have firearm attack, element of your choice, rounds per magazine, and then faction. As far as your substats, firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage, element, faction. You can pretty much do anything you want with this weapon. I just want to show a built version just in case somebody wants to build it up. They have something to aim towards, but you can use this at a very low level just to break the shields. Shields basically pop instantly. Now we have 3 firearm attack mods, expand weapon charge, also another magazine mod with compulsive magazine. We have our 2 element mods, brisk walk for our movement speed, then super cooled plasma and fire rate up. And now for a quick clairvoyance build. This would be mostly used for Purge 30 on Lepic, or maybe Viesa if you want to debuff for the team as well as do damage. For your 2 top slots, you're going to go with your element mods. Make sure you get your sprint speed so you can stay out of the pack, and then rounds per magazine so you don't have to reload as often. And then for your substats, firearm attack, chill attack, firearm critical hit damage, and faction damage. Now, as far as a mod setup, you're going to want super cool plasma, analysis master, and brisk walk. You're going to get your 2 element mods, your firearm attack mod, your magazine mods, reload mod, fire rate up. This is mostly going to be a support weapon. You're not going to be outputting a lot of damage with this. And that covers everything for this updated meta weapons guide. Hope this helps a lot of you. I know it was a lot of info. Any questions or suggestions about the builds, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe is appreciated. Thanks, guys. Peace.